They say everyone is replaceable. That love is a numbers game. That once he's bored, he moves on. But that's not entirely true, is it? Not if you understand the truth. People don't bond to perfection. They bond to power, to what they can't easily explain or control. And most importantly, to what they can't get again. You want to be the one he can't replace. Then stop thinking like a romantic and start thinking like a strategist. Look at Caesar. When he seduced Cleopatra, it wasn't because he brought her flowers. He brought her Rome. He brought danger, dominance, vision. She knew if she let him go, she'd never touch a man like that again. He wasn't trying to be her favorite. He was trying to be unforgettable. You think men get addicted to kindness, to being understood? No. They get addicted to what makes them question themselves, what wakes them up, what forces them to chase, even when they swore they wouldn't. That's what you need to become. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't want to be irreplaceable. They want to be safe, liked, validated, approved. You see it in every girl who lowers her standards to keep a man interested, who softens her voice, tones herself down, doesn't call him out. That's not love. That's survival. That's fear in a dress. Nietzsche said, "You must become who you are." But most people are too afraid to even find out who that is, because who you really are might be dangerous, difficult, disliked. But that's exactly what makes you memorable. The woman who can't be replaced is the one who's not trying to fit in. She's creating a mold he never knew existed. She doesn't ask, "Does he like me?" She asks, "Does he respect me?" And more importantly, does he fear losing me? Because let's be honest, men don't value what's always available. They value what can walk away, what knows its worth, what doesn't need them, but still chooses not ego. That's leverage. When Napoleon left Josephine, it wasn't because she wasn't beautiful. It's because she got too comfortable, too certain. She stopped being a challenge. And Napoleon, like any man who climbs empires, doesn't chase what's already in his pocket. But then came Marie-Louise, young, noble, mysterious. And suddenly, Josephine's charm had an expiration date. So what do? You stop auditioning, you stop trying to be better. You become different, singular. You play the long game. You make yourself the woman who builds empires, not the one who waits to be chosen. Because here's the truth no one wants to admit: most men don't remember the one who loved them the most. They remember the one who made them become someone else. The one who forced growth, who demanded standards, who didn't make love easy, but made it elevating. And if that makes you intimidating, good. Men forget comfort. They never forget transformation. So ask yourself, honestly, are you being remembered or just convenient? You don't become irreplaceable by being agreeable. You become irreplaceable by becoming a mirror. One that reflects his weaknesses, his desires, and his hunger for something bigger than himself. That's why most men forget the woman who made life easy, but obsess over the one who made them level up. And Nietzsche once said that love is not about finding someone who completes you. It's about finding someone who magnifies your power. And deep down, every man is hungry for that kind of woman. But most will never admit it, because that kind of woman isn't soft. She doesn't smile when she's insulted. She doesn't beg for attention. She demands alignment. And she walks when the game gets small. If he feels no risk of losing you, you are replaceable. If you have no standards that test him, you are replaceable. If you're always available, always apologizing, always seeking approval, you're not a woman. You're a product. And products are always on sale. Look at Kissinger. Ruthless, brilliant, strategic. He knew how to walk into any room and become indispensable. Why? Because he didn't just deliver what people wanted. He delivered what they didn't even realize they needed. Vision, control, outcome. The people who became addicted to him weren't in love with his personality. They were addicted to the sense of power he gave them by proximity. That's what the irreplaceable do. They raise the stakes. Now think about it socially. In today's world, people confuse attention with value. You get likes, comments, 100 DMs, and still feel disposable. Why? Because digital attention isn't real power. Real power is when someone's entire mindset changes after knowing you. When you've carved out a psychological footprint in their life. Not because you begged for it, but because you showed them a higher standard, then refused to compromise it. Most people are terrified of being alone. But the woman he can't replace, she embraces solitude like a weapon. She doesn't chase connection to feel whole. She uses solitude to build depth, mystery and force. That's why men orbit her long after she's gone. Because they never met someone who didn't need them. And in a world of codependence, independence is a high. But this isn't just about being cold. Don't confuse detachment with dullness. You want to be irreplaceable. Then be alive, be dangerous, be the storm he didn't see coming. Because the truth is, men don't fall in love with quiet compliance. They fall for what rattles them. They fall for what they can't name. You have to be more than a good listener, more than pretty, more than smart. You have to become the question he keeps returning to at 2 a.m. The contradiction, the edge, the clarity he hates, but can't deny. And yes, that means fewer men will like you. But the ones who do, they'll never forget you. This world rewards the bland, the predictable, the easy. But the man who builds empires, he doesn't want easy, he wants impact. And if you're not giving him that, then understand someone else will. So you have a choice, blend in, or be the one he regrets for the rest of his life. Being irreplaceable has a cost. It means becoming the exception in a world full of copies. And the truth is, most people don't want the responsibility that comes with that. They'd rather be chosen than challenged. They want love without leverage, comfort without consequence. But Nietzsche didn't believe in comfort. He believed in becoming. In transformation, in power, not over others, but over yourself. And the woman a man can't replace. She lives by that principle. She doesn't enter a room to be accepted. She enters to disturb the hierarchy, to command curiosity, to bend the energy around her. And the reason she's unforgettable is simple. She's not reacting to the world. She's redefining it. Look around. In the corporate world, in politics, in relationships, most people play not to lose. They want just enough love, just enough approval, just enough money to feel secure. But the ones who dominate the game, they play to own it. Think about Steve Jobs. Think about Cleopatra. Think about Napoleon. They didn't ask, how do I stay in the room? They asked, how do I make the room mine? Not with loudness, with essence. With the kind of presence that haunts people when they're gone. That's what you want to be, not liked. Remembered. And the woman who is remembered doesn't play the emotional caretaker. She doesn't chase the nice dream. She doesn't teach a man how to love her. She stands so firmly in her own worth that if he doesn't rise, he's left. And that's the paradox. When you're willing to lose him, that's when he feels he can't lose you. See, most people think power is loud. But real power is subtle. It's the pause after you say something true and he doesn't know how to answer. It's the eye contact that makes him feel naked. It's the silence after a boundary. And the way you don't explain it. You don't beg for love. You demand respect. You don't perform softness. You earn silence. And that silence, that's where his obsession grows. You've probably seen it. The girl who gives everything, only to ghosted. The one who's always available, always proving herself, only to be told, I'm not ready for anything serious. But then comes the woman who does nothing extra. And suddenly, he's ready. Suddenly, he's all in. Why? Because she didn't sell herself. She withheld herself. And in that space, he found value. You think love is about giving. It's about controlling access. You think he'll stay if you're perfect. He'll stay if you're rare. If being with you feels like stepping into a world he doesn't want to leave. The woman he can't replace doesn't compete. She doesn't chase trends. She doesn't copy. She builds her own mythos. And whether you like it or not, people fall in love with mystery, not transparency, with depth, not availability. This isn't about being manipulative. It's about being so deeply in your own lane that no one can categorize you. That's what Nietzsche meant when he said, "Who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." Your why makes you sovereign, makes you magnetic, makes you dangerous. So stop trying to be his peace. Be his awakening. Let him feel you when you're not in the room. Let him wonder what you're thinking. Let him fear what he might lose, not because you threaten it, but because he knows it. And when he tries to replace you with someone easier, let him. Because a man who trades gold for glitter always returns to regret. There's a reason why men remember some women for a season and others for a lifetime. It has nothing to do with beauty, nothing to do with sex, and everything to do with power, not dominance, not aggression, existential power, the kind that makes a man question who he is when you're gone, the kind that makes other women feel like consolation prizes. That kind of power doesn't come from playing the game. It comes from rewriting it. Nietzsche said that the great individual is not defined by what they endure, but by what they create in the face of it. That's what it means to be irreplaceable. You create a gravity around you, a pull, a myth. You don't ask to be chosen. You make him question his entire life if he doesn't choose you, and when he leaves. You don't chase. You evolve. Because the most terrifying thing a man can witness is your glow up without him. People think being unforgettable means being loved. But often, the people we can't forget are the ones who forced us to confront ourselves. That's why he thinks about you at 1 a.m. That's why he checks your profile after weeks of silence. Because he didn't just lose a woman. He lost clarity. He lost tension. He lost the challenge that made him feel more alive. The ones who are easy to love are easy to forget. But the ones who made you change, you carry them forever. You want to be the one he can't replace. Then stop fearing loss. Stop fearing rejection. Understand this. Being irreplaceable isn't about being the best. It's about being the only one like you. You don't have to outshine other women. You have to out-authentic them, out-intensify them, out-real them. And that means stepping into your shadow. The parts of you that are raw, unedited, uncomfortable. The bold parts, the untamed parts, that's where your power lives. Not in what makes you pleasant, but in what makes you impossible to fake. Because every man, whether he admits it or not, is searching for that one woman who makes the world look different. Who makes him want to become something he's afraid of. Not for her, but because of what she represents. That's the woman he can't replace. She doesn't just enter his life, she disrupts it. She makes him question how small he's been living, what kind of man he's been settling for. She raises the bar without lifting a finger, not because she says so, but because her presence demands it. And if he can't rise, she's gone. No tears, no drama, just silence and evolution. And that silence, that's what echoes in his mind when he's with someone else, wondering why it doesn't feel the same. You see, power is not about control. It's about alignment. When you align with your deepest self, with your standards, your values, your fire, you become irreplaceable by default. Because there's only one of you. So stop asking how to make him stay. Ask how to become so undeniably yourself that losing you isn't just painful. It's existentially expensive. You were never meant to be anyone's piece. You were meant to be their path to greatness, their mirror, their muse, their storm. And storms don't beg, they pass through, and they leave everything different.